Hey, what's poppin', PBO gamers? It's me, Analyst Exams, back again once again with another kind of recap analysis video. Second one I've done. Like I said, there's no real schedule to these. I'm kind of just doing them intermittently, picking divisions at random, picking weeks at random to go through. Right now, we're gonna go through Sunset Week 3. Kind of just because I feel like it. So let's just jump right into it. All right, so this is Jarv versus Lion City. If we look at the leaderboard, I kind of started the battle before I wanted to, because I usually like to talk about who could lead and stuff. So obviously it was an Arbok versus Rillaboom lead, which is good for Jarv. I think other lead options for Jarv, Treads is always a decent lead option, and like if it's Scarf or Nightlife, that's good. But I do think Arbok and Treads were the most likely. Meanwhile, with Lion City, obviously Ting is the most option, but you want to get your Rillaboom going as fast as possible as well. So I understand that lead because you have the Hawlucha Burden to proc. But it is a good lead for Jarv. So immediately we're going to see an Intimidate. I mean, this is probably a switch from Lion City. You really don't want to stay in and take whatever poison move it has. So I'm assuming this Arbok's going to want to go for Glare or maybe Knock to whittle something initially. So yeah, it's a U-turn. Decent chip, honestly, for being -1. Worm, Glare, makes sense. So now this Worm can either go for... because there's really nothing that Arbok can do to it. So you're probably going to have to go like our Volcanion, I imagine, is probably your best bet. Even if he Earthquakes, it's like whatever. This Worm has to go for probably Hazards. Ape is interesting. I really liked the pressure of going Volcanion here. Yeah, I think Volcanion was a better play here. So if you go Volcanion here and you look at the team, there's no fire resist, and there's no fire plus water resist especially. So if you go Volcanion, I mean, so what are the Terras, right? So it's Terra Worm at water. Or no, he just put water on all these guys. The Terras are Reuniclus and Hawlucha. And the Terras here are Poison and I believe Flying with the Ape and with the Moltres, and then Fire for the Ape. I really feel like going Volcanion here put on immediate pressure and probably cause this guy to lose a Pokemon. Or at least get close to it. So Petch comes out, U-turn, Bulk. Doing this so early, I think, is a bit of a misplay on Jarv's part. So there's just no way without Rage Fist boost that Annihilate beats Petch in a 1v1. Like, you can have Rest as well. Like, you could Toxic, you can even rest it off, but it just doesn't matter because eventually you're going to get caught in sleep, and then this thing can just hex you. So yeah, he instantly switches. So like, oh yeah, that's a bunch of unnecessary momentum loss from Jarv, in my opinion, when he could have just gone Volcanion on the Worm. I suppose he just feared an Earthquake / high horsepower, but I really don't feel like that was the play coming out. I thought it was pretty obvious that it was going to be a hazard. Treads coming out on Petch makes sense. It's a very common answer to it, especially if it has a Clear Amulet to block a parting shot. Okay, so he has a Grassy Seed, so that tells me this is like a body press set. So that's a little concerning, considering that Petron is here. That he has like these dual setup, and he's kind of blown both of them now. Earth Power makes perfect sense, though. Parting Shot doesn't have it. Okay. I wish he had just Clear Amulet instead of this Grassy Seed. Would have made it much harder for Lion City to claw the momentum back after getting that Toxic turn wrong on the Treads. Instead, Tinglu comes out. It's an IDEF, makes sense. I think it's pretty obvious it's IDEF once you see the Grassy Seed from Lion City. So going Ting doesn't make a ton of sense, but at the same time, I also get it because there's really no Pokemon you can go that is pretty good against this, except for like Reuniclus. You probably have to get Reuniclus in, honestly. You take a bunch. You can also just tank the Body Press and Whirlwind, which is, I assume, what happens here. Yeah. So another case of, I think, going for something a little too early, but I do think that was relatively successful. It got pretty decent chip on Petch and Tinglu. And assuming you're not locked in with Valiant, this is a pretty free Moonblast. If he goes Patch, you just kill it with whatever move. If he goes Earthworm, you just kill it with whatever move. So it's going to be Rilla instead, recognizing that they're low. Moonblast does a lot. Just stay in and kill it. Switches. Interesting. I guess he doesn't want to take the glide. See, if I was playing this game, I probably would have just stayed in and killed it. Because you're going to take a good amount of chip here from these rocks plus glide. When hazards are up, you don't really... like, that does a lot. Ting gets paired, but it's getting health back now. I feel like Valiant put on a ton of pressure just by being in and alive and killing the Rillaboom. It for sure didn't die from full. And now you've kind of lost a bit of momentum, in my opinion. Instead, you're just going to sack this guy, it looks like. You're planning on sacking your R-Block instead of getting a kill yourself. I think that's a bit of a misplay. But you are getting these paras, which is nice. In fact, you're at full. So sacking this is like a fool's errand at this point because it's completely at full. Hazards go up. Alright, but he's actually just going for full hazard spam, which makes sense with Patch still here. So you go treads hard on the worm. I mean, you need to get rid of this hazard, but he's going to go Patch predicting that. Oh, see, you've spent so much time. This is an example of conditioning. You spent so much time working so hard to get these hazards up. There's no way he's just going to let you get them off. You know what I mean? You got to go for Earth Power here expecting Petron to come in. I think if you went for Earth Power here expecting Petron to come in, you probably have a really good chance of winning this game because you get a free spin sometime later. Like I know it's a prediction, so sometimes it's hard to call, and like you might talk about hindsight, but this really isn't hindsight. It's understanding the game state, and that he just essentially spent his whole, like multiple turns, his whole Ting Lu getting all these hazards up. He'd be a fool to try and like to just give them to you, to just let you take them off. He has to go Patch to retain any momentum. And see, now he lives, and he parting shots. Call Lucha because it's faster and it threatens you out. SD, you just glare. Oh, he's got taunt. That's fun. Oh, you're in pretty big trouble now, actually. So yeah, you go Ape. Back to Arbok, but I mean, you're in pretty big trouble. You're just spamming, switching. You don't have a good answer at all. Knock, but that procs. I'm almost positive that procs on Burden. I think he just lost. Yeah, you let him get too high. Yeah, that's tough. That's GG's. I mean, even this is just a good set, the taunt, because even through, you probably should have gone, I don't know. Once you saw the taunt, you probably had lost no matter what. I think it was a few earlier misplays with Patch, with like with what you were doing on Patch, with not getting Volcania in on the worm, that I think ended up costing you in this late game scenario against Lucha. But this was just a really good Lucha from Lion City, and I think he brought a really nice set here that stopped your counters to it. All right, I think we can move on to the next game. So Far Ahead versus Hot Peppers. This is the Cherry Hill Bellsprouts versus Mr. Bunky, I believe. This is a pretty interesting game here. So looking at the initial field combatants, there's not a typical lead on their side, I'd say. If it's like Scarf Jugulus, I could see that as the lead. Tarop leads sometimes, I could see that. Emp usually isn't a lead, but it has Hazard, so I could see that for sure. On Mr. Monkey said, Blood Moon could lead. It's pretty threatening other than Alina Kino. So Empoleon actually does take Blood Moons pretty well, and obviously this could be a AV hands. I wouldn't be against it. If you're like Scarf or Band, Moon, you could lead it, but I doubt it. Shocks is obviously also a pretty standard lead. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the lead. So it is Shocks, and it is Jug, which tells me this is like a Scarf Jug or something, which makes sense. But this is a just probably a U-turn from the Jugulus now. So like looking at the main threats, you've got Boulder. I think Boulder struggles here pretty hard. Mesprit should be able to take one hit. Duck should be able to fire back. Boulder or Blood Moon should really be able to take a close combat, especially because it's not Terra fighting. Yeah, it's Terra Fire, and it would actually just kill with Earth Power, so that's really bad. So I think that struggles. I think Hands is pretty decent in this game. It should be able to take a hit from anything and kind of fire back, especially if it's AV. It hits Roaring Moon and Blood Moon really hard. The Scarf Jugulus, you know, this is probably its worst matchup is the Shocks, because against Gold it can Dark Move, everything else it can Hurricane for, you know, probably half. Tarop is okay, but again, Tarop's kind of a weird Pokemon where it can 1v1 anything and also lose to anything depending on how you play it. So it reveals to be a Scarf Shocks, assuming this is Scarf. Or actually, no, this can't be Scarf. This is a Scarf Shocks and a non-Scarf Jugulus, which is very interesting. So maybe Specs? So yeah, he brings in Emp on the Blood Moon. Emp is usually a classic Blood Moon, although usually a Shuka. Not having Shuka is interesting. Flip out on Mesprit. That's a pretty decent play. Not going for the obvious Surf, so you get your momentum back and you get your Jugulus right back in. Yep, makes sense. Probably a U-turn. Dark Pulse is also fine. You get some good chip. This is going decently for Cherry Hill, but it's not out of the question that Monkey could win this for sure. Especially because you could just Volt again, so like the momentum's instantly regained no matter what. Light Screen, that's a good to have. I like having that. So Emp comes in on the CM. Surf, that does a little too much for my liking. So like I know what Monkey is doing here. You Calm Mind to make it do less over and over, and you get past the light screen. But it's gonna take a good amount of turns, and I'm really worried about getting crit as you Moonlight spam here. So yeah, Mr. Monkey decides he doesn't like it either. The chances of getting crit are too great. Instead he goes Mesprit. Probably gets his rocks up here. Yep, clutch. Tarop, he wants to instantly spin those away, so it's going to be gold for Mr. Monkey to block that. Let's see if Cherry Hill predicts that. It is Boots. Yep, gold. Dark Pulse predicting it. Perfect. All right, so this is actually pretty good play going on right here. You know, it's kind of obvious, but at the same time, it's, you know, sometimes you got to make that play. The gold taking the Dark Pulse, it didn't do over half, so it's honestly fine. Calm Mind, T-Wave, pretty clutch, because now he can recover. Oh, he just wants to break it. All right, so he's just going to sack. Gold. Duck comes in to threaten a CC. Hands. This CC is going to do a lot to Hands. Oh, and it's Terror Ghost. Oh, to block the potential spin from that turn. EQ. I don't see a world where EQ was optimal there. I could even see, like... I guess he was predicting Sandy Shocks. I don't love that play. Empoleon. Okay. Okay, so, like, this is all decent for Cherry Hill. Like, even the EQ is, like, bad, but it wasn't, like, horrible. Duck comes in, so he's stowing away that Healing Wish, which makes perfect sense. Alright, so now Jugulus gets to come in. Oh, he goes Boulder. I don't get this. Does Boulder kill? I feel like Boulder doesn't kill this. Yeah, that's bad. Jugulus was for sure the play here. Jugulus Dark Pulse was way, way better, because now he gets he's going to be +3, +1. Yeah, for sure a misplay. So in that situation, you just got to know like what's going to kill and what's not. There's no move this thing can have that's going to kill a full health quick rival or essentially full health. Just took a freaking flip turn. Jiggless Dark Pulse, because it's Terra Ghosted, for sure kills, like 100%. There's no way it doesn't. So, yeah, I believe that was a bit of a misplay on your part, Cherry Hill, unfortunately. And it puts Mr. Monkey in a big, big threatening position. Hands comes in instead. This is going to kill. Oh, wow, that's very defensive. That's very defensive. I'll calc that. $252 plus 3 iron hands. How much percentage was he at? 69. So 252 HP. I mean, like max HP, max defense, no bold nature. And it would also have to be a non-adamant Quickquival, which in my opinion, Quickquival should usually be adamant. I don't know. That seems weird to me to do that little, but it saves them. I mean, they're very far ahead right now, Cherry Hill, but obviously Blood Moon and Roaring Moon are both very threatening. Sandy Shocks takes the hands down. This might actually be bad. All right, so 82. That might be game, unless this thing has like a roar or yawn. I actually don't know what Cherry Hill goes into. Yeah, it's gonna take rocks. Knock's gonna kill the shit out of this. Yeah, this thing kills everything. I think maybe a mismanagement of resources here for Cherry Hill in this end game. I also wish this was Scarf, but even if it was, like you obviously needed hands for this moon, or you needed the booster speed to Iron Boulder for this moon. I really think the main turn that really messed you up was going Boulder on the duck when the Jugulus would have threatened it out or killed it just fine. And then you would have the booster speed boulder for this situation where you could kill it with a CC and kind of probably win the game, honestly. Go on your merry way. So just an unfortunate situation because, yeah, you're going to lose everything to Moon. Tough. I really think that one play was what lost you this game. Pretty good plays at the beginning. Decent plays all around, to be honest. Mr. Monkey was behind the whole time, but kind of made a bit of a comeback in the end with that Moon. Strong game for sure. All right, moving on, we have Razzle Dazzles versus the Muffin Man. So this is the So Razzle Dazzles is right here, the Diancies, and Muffin Man is Keldeo Meow, Dreary Lane Darmanitans. So let's go through it. So I forgot to say leads. I mean, it's the two most obvious leads in the world. Glamora and Meow are kind of like built-in leads with either band or scarf U-turns or like hazard stacking. Mammal's also a possible lead, but those are like the two main ones I would say. On the other side, another lead could be like Chomp, but I doubt it. I feel like Glamora is a pretty obvious lead. So it's gonna be Muck on a power gem instead of hazards. I think hazards would have been perfectly. What are the Terras here? I can't tell off of this. Keldeo, Mamoswine. So it's just stabs for more power, it looks like. Yeah, this is going to do nothing, though. Knock, Toxic Debris. Focus Sash is gone. So Kamal's going to come in. It can't get poisoned because of Comatose. Yep, makes sense. Alright, so this Glamora is getting some decent chip off. But it is a Wish Kamala. He's just spamming Wish at this point. So he goes for a Scale Shot. Gets some good chip on Kamala. So Kamala's basically dead. Spin. So yeah, Kamala dies to Rough Skin. Was that the best use of Kamala? Just spamming Wish and then spinning away a Toxic Spike? Oh, you don't even get the spin off because it dies. I guess it forces Glamora out, but it doesn't really do anything. You know what I mean? Like the Glamora didn't really, like the Kamala didn't really achieve any progress. He kind of shows that this is a Scarf Meow here, right? Yeah, triple axle. This will do a lot. This will probably be a 2 KO. Yeah. So he just gets a triple axle again, unless he goes Prim. Oh, it's not even Scarf. He just didn't care that it was plus speed. That's interesting. I bet Scale Shot would have done a lot or killed this Meow. Garchomp's really strong. I probably would have taken that 2-for-1. I probably would have taken Kamala plus Meow for Garchomp if I was Razzle Dazzles. Instead, Glamora dies. The Guzzler comes out, so no T-Spikes. Is this going to be a scale? It's going to be EQ. Okay, that does a decent amount, but not a ton. Prim. Makes sense perfectly. And then this is a good parting shot to get momentum. Probably going to have to be... it's really not a good... It's probably going to be Mach. Meow. Okay, does it say Flower Trick kills? I'd be shocked. But he switches anyways, no matter what. So all the momentum's going to Muffin Man now. Mamo gets to come in. It's Prim, but this thing has Trailblaze, yeah. So Water Move. Oh, Terra Ground EQ. Oof. Oh, is it over? Oh, this is a pretty cool Mamoswine, no lie. Alright, that's cool. I really like that Mamoswine. That's sick. This is a loaded dice Mamoswine, I think. I mean, really sick set all around. I liked that a lot. I think maybe Razzle Dazzles was just a little too passive in this game, and that's what ended up losing the game. Garchomp had a pretty good angle to do some big chip, big damage. I also think like he could they could have just stayed in a few turns instead of switching, and I think some of those switches kind of cost them some momentum and ended up losing them the game. The Mamoswine was cool from Muffin Man. I mean, there's not too much to say about how they played. I think they played perfectly fine. They kept their momentum up near the end game, which has allowed them to get Mamoswine in to get the sweep. And that's kind of how the game crumbles sometimes. So now we got Pingu, who is the coach of the Weasels, I believe. Versus Snooze You Lose, the Barraskewda team. Big Dave. So the first thought is that Water Pond really needs to save him from Barraskewda because Barraskewda is going to really wreck him. It doesn't. On Pingu's side, Polt looks pretty scary. There's actually no resist to the Dragon Stab. So Dracos are going to be flying. Obviously, on Clodsire can come out, but if it is unaware Clodsire, those Dracos are going to keep their same damage output. I think the leads could be like Clodsire. Obviously, Pelipper is a lead, but I don't really love Pelipper as a lead with Rain. I also think he could potentially lead Arch. I don't think that's bad at all either. On Pingu's side, I think just straight up leading Polt would be pretty viable. I also don't hate leading like Crown if it's Volt, for example. I think that could be pretty viable too. Mian is also obviously viable if it's like Scarf. So it's Ursaluna. I get why it's Ursaluna. I've seen people lead Ursaluna before. I personally wouldn't do it here, but I get why, because it technically lives everything and it hits back really, really hard. So an instant normal from the Ursaluna gets frozen. That's really unfortunate turn one. So now Ogre gets in for free. Spikes go up expecting Arch. Makes sense. So Crown is the answer to Arch, which is interesting because I don't know if Crown beats Arch. I guess if it's Focus Blast, it does. All right. Is this Arch Terra? It is. What Terra is it? It's a Fairy Arch. And the Crown is the Terra. Okay, so this is Terra Crown. That's interesting. So letting your thing get letting your main Terra get Thunder Wave turn 4. Rough. That's unfortunate. Body Press, that's an okay chunk. Future Sight, but that's just not enough to dissuade him from switching out. Misses the Focus Blast through the para. I mean, you gotta expect it. Misses another. That's unfortunate. Yeah, this thing would probably be dead right now. I mean, you have to assume it had Focus Blast when it switched in. Just getting Thunder Wave like that. Oh, yeah, this is tough. This thing's about to go on a rampage. Pull. Draco should kill. Does he not have Draco? Claude comes out. Acid Spray to get the Spadef down. Makes sense. Ursaluna, this is just a sack. Doesn't even have a move to kill it though. Does it thaw now? No thaw. Probably could have used that opportunity to spin, to be honest, if you want to be greedy. Yep. So predicts the EQ correctly. Pretty obvious EQ. Why else would you go Claude at that point? Blizzard does 49. That's an okay amount. He could switch pretty freely into he just sacks, he decides. Or it's not even a sack. This Blizzard's actually pretty pathetic damage-wise. So this Claude's proving to be a massive issue. There's no real answer to it on Pingu's side. Everything's taking chip, everything's getting toxic. That does nothing. Tentacle gets picked off. So Pingu just has really nothing to deal with this Clodsire. And he's taking rocks and he's taking poison. This is all bad. I mean, this Blizzard is going to do an okay amount. Oh, so he volts. So his Rotom's basically forfeited to hazards, essentially. He refuses to leverage. So I'm assuming this is like a support pull, because I think if he leveraged his pulp better, he probably could have done way more damage, because Dracos are so free. Especially when Claude got kind of low and a hazard went up. I feel like there was a way to leverage pulp better to get massive chip on the opposing side. Fake out. So it's going to be Rotom, another sack. Wellspring, maybe? So Pulp finally comes out. DD, okay, so it's not a Draco set. Gets confused, that's tough. Yeah, but that just doesn't do anything. Yeah, all this is very unfortunate. Being DD into potentially unaware Claude is, tough. U-turns instead of killing it. So just a bunch of unfortunate turns going on here for Pingu. Say, because he needs the, what's it called? He saves. I mean, this is just over. Yeah. Interesting game. I feel like maybe we didn't play around the Arch correctly early game, which ended up costing us. And I think we didn't leverage our Dragapult correctly. And obviously we just had, in prep, no great way of dealing with Claude, which is a bit of a prep issue, unfortunately. I think we can move on to our next game. All right, we have Infernigator, who is Blue Fusion, versus Geotaro, Geo. So off rip, Obvious leads are Quillfish, Tyranitar, because those guys are usual suspects of leads to get up hazards or set up sand, something like that. The other option is a potential like Skarm lead, but I doubt it, kinda. On Geo's side, DOS is a pretty good lead. Same with Conk. I think Conk could be a really strong choice. And obviously Cinderace could like you turn out if it wanted to as lead. So it's Enamorus as the lead and Jolteon. So I just got this one completely wrong. I just suppose Jolteon makes sense because you see no ground. So you have the ability to just Volt no matter what. Especially before that, what's it called, gets ground? The Salamence. So it's going to be Conk on the Volt. It protects. So he wanted to see what this Enam was going to do. He wanted to see if it was Scarf, probably. Because he's not Scarf, and he didn't want to take a Moonblast if he didn't have to. And he wanted to proc his Flame Orb for his Quick Feet. Quillfish is the answer. EQ? Okay, so no EQ. Immediate knock, which makes sense. Because Skarm is also a pretty viable answer. Liquidation does an okay amount. He drains. That is a shit ton. It's a crit. That makes sense. I mean, so the drain didn't make any sense. It made no sense to go for. But I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that it did that much because it was a crit, which goes through the menace attack. Going for drain makes no sense. Staying in really makes no sense. There's no viable reason to stay in and let your Conk take this damage, unfortunately. You have answers. Like Suicune's right there. Comes out. Spike goes up. T-Wave misses. Good for Geo. But he just goes for it again. Scald. So good value from the Quill. Got a Spike that's not going away unless the Cinderace's core change. Got the T-Wave off. Got some chip on Conk. All that's viable. And Jolteon comes out to Volt once again. Staying in is probably the right call at this point from Geo. There's really not much he can do but stay in and just go for the Scald. Latios predicting that Scald. Does decent chip burn. No burn, unfortunate. I would just stay in and go for whatever move you have. He just dies. Okay. I kind of get why he died. Latios is stronger than people give it credit for. I'm a big Latios fan. Tyranitar comes out. This is going to be a U-turn. Willow. Okay, that's interesting. I think even though it cripples Tyranitar, I still think U-turn's probably better. Because you get in Conk, and Conk can Drain Punch, get some health back, and get some momentum back. I do think even though Tyranitar gets crippled here, U-turn is still the better play just for the sake of momentum. Protect again is interesting. Willow predicting the switch on your... Okay. A bit of an overcook there. So he expected Skarm to come out, I'm guessing. So he Willowed predicting Skarm or Excadrill because they saw you turn the previous turn. But he decides to just stay in with Tyranitar, which I think is the correct read on Blue Fusion's part. Because there's really no reason to risk your Drill or Skarm when you can just stay in. You always live U-turn, pretty much no matter what. He probably protected expecting a high jump kick, and when he didn't see it, he felt comfortable staying in. And I think Geo read it as him protecting just to see what he goes for and then switching to the appropriate counter, when it was really just a high jump kick scout. So yeah, he finally gets the U-turn off. Conk comes in. But instead of imagine instead of your Cinderace being paralyzed, you got this turn a long time ago when he clicked Thunder Wave, and if you're Guts, you got a boost because you could Drain Punch something, and even if you're not, you still got a Drain Punch off. But yeah, you should be able to Drain Punch here. Skarm comes in, just Drain Punch it. I don't get the point of mocking at that point. I think Drain Punch is perfectly valid for more damage and also some HP recovery. There's no way that this thing kills you. The knock the previous turn did 10%, and now you don't have your item. I really feel like Drain was super free. Because, yeah, you just have to die now. Drain into mock probably could have been interesting. And especially if you're going to mock the previous turn, why not mock this turn to get even more chip? I think just a mismanagement of moves here. And now your Cinderace is also paralyzed. So he gets his drill in now. Sucker for chip. I think that makes sense. Iron Head, expecting Ments probably, or Enam. Again, a little bit of an overcook, but it's fine. Honestly, you could have SD'd and you probably won straight up. DD should still outspeed you. That actually is probably bad. Yeah, tough. DD, but you probably still get outspeed. You probably needed to sack Dio, then go to it in DD so that the sand ran out or something. Jolt just gets to come out. No move for Skarm on Dio is super unfortunate. Being physical Dio in general is super unfortunate into Skarm. Alright, so that's a kill. But unfortunately, I think this Jolteon just gets to win the game at this point with Quick Feet because it's Terra, Ice. If I remember correctly, this Terra Blast is going to kill for sure. Yeah. GG's. Pretty close one. I think a few misplays around the conk, around Cinderace kind of cost you that game. And also that end game sequencing with the Excadrill and the Salamence. Although Jolteon always gets quick feet, it doubles the speed. It's you need like 3D at Dragonets just before Ments can get the sweep going. So I think it might have been just a bit of an out prep from Blue Fusion. All right, next up we have Beep Boop, who is the Blessmus with Cephalons, versus Mad Yonko, who is the Mad Mac, the Prophet of the Pantheon. So this is a pretty cool matchup we've got here. It's a Terra Ground Comfey, a Terra Grass Garg, versus a Terra Steel Hydrapple. I think that's the only Terra. So, looking at the matchup, the Garg looks very, very annoying. I have to assume there's some Covert Cloaker, because otherwise, if this thing Terra Grasses, it becomes a really big problem for Mad Yonko to deal with, especially if his Apple is steeled and is going to take 25% from the Salt Cures. Comfey, you're probably, as long as you have Levitate Weezing, you're probably fine. I mean, it could be like the Stored Power set, that would be annoying. Palafin looks quite menacing, especially if it has the Throat Chop for the Slowking, but even if it doesn't, Slowking doesn't necessarily want to take a Wave Crash, but again, if this guard gets the grass off, it becomes kind of problematic. I think the lead could be if it's like, I think Gligar, Gren, and Sneasler are the most likely. Meanwhile, on the other side, it's probably Keys and Finn are the two most likely, obviously, for hazards and or to get big. Let's start it off. So it's Slowking initially, probably expecting the Palafin, but it's Keys instead to get the hazards up. So yeah, Chili's out immediately. Gren comes in on Keys. I don't know if necessarily Keys need to switch out there. I have a feeling that you could just spike stack trade, but I do understand going Palafin to get to the big mode early. I think that's actually probably better than what I just said, in my opinion. So this is gonna be a flip or a hard switch to Hydrapple. So Med Yako has all the momentum right now. Comfey comes out. It's gonna be a Terra Steel. Nasty Pot. It's gonna have Terra Blast here. Oh, but the Encore, tough. So now this is gonna be a free switch from Beep Boop. Oh, he doesn't switch. Oh, but he has Calm Mind. So he's trapped into the Nasty Plot forever. He's forced to switch here. This is going to be a Terra Ground Comfey. Does he go for it? He does. But he's going to die. Oh, tough. I mean, so this is like the thing of having this Comfey, is even if you like win, even if you get the predictions right and you have a bunch of cool stuff going on, he just has the Jet Puncher, unfortunately. Do you have Giga Drain? He does. Is this a sweep? So, I mean, it should be the Wheezing Walls now. That might do too much, man. Yeah, it's just over. Damn. Damn. That's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, this Comfey popped off, obviously. It didn't even have to hit Jeezing because he just boosted past and Jeezing's too passive. So this is kind of like the problem with passive Mons and Peldead decks like G Weezing, is even if you wall the moves, if you just can't do anything, it doesn't really matter. He needed probably in prep to have Haze or something to be able to beat this Comfey. He needed to switch out really the main thing was the second he got Encored, he needed a hard switch to Palafin on this Comfey. The second he got his plot encored is he needed, or he probably needed to plot not at all and just go for a move hard. But yeah, because Comfey wouldn't have killed with just a +1 Giga Drain. For sure, the play was to go hard Palafin the second he was encored, unfortunately. But kind of just shows how games can spiral out of control with just like one misplay. All right, finally we have King Frank Tank versus Don Colbus. So leads for Donkalbus. Tink, Rye, Mew are the obvious ones in my opinion. Mew can lead and be pretty much anything. It can status, it can set hazards, it can honestly be set up and lead. Rye, Hypnosis lead is just very, very annoying. And then Tink set up hazards. On King Frank Tank's side, Ninetales is the most obvious. I also wouldn't be shocked by like a Scizor U-turn lead. I think those are the two most obvious. So let's get this game started. So it's Mew. It's Sinistra, so that's interesting. It's going to be an insta plot against an insta plot, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, Mew's going to win that plot war. And it's the Life Orb. It's going to be Ninetales to set up the Veil, but it's going to die through Veil. So Frank instantly loses 2 Pokemon. That's really unfortunate. Oh, this Cure Mount speeds. Oh, and but a crit. Insta KO. Fuck. I mean, this is really bad. Yeah, I mean, Frank just loses all his Pokemon off lead, man. That was really tough. I mean, that crit mattered a ton for the game, unfortunately. Not really much to say about the game. Good lead by Don Cobus. I think Frank maybe just in prep didn't have the right stuff to deal with Mew, potentially. But also he got crit, which is just super unfortunate. Hate to see it. Yeah. I think we'll leave it there for this video. Not much analysis to have on this last one, unfortunately. Thank you everyone for watching. Peace out.